The Pacific Ocean is basically an island factory, and Atlantic isn't it? Why? Islands are everywhere, but if you look in detail, you will see that most of them are located in the Pacific Ocean. Think about Hawaii, French Polynesia, or even Japan. All of them are big archipelagos founding in the Pacific Ocean, and they are not alone. We have a lot of microstates as Kiribati, Tuvalu, or even Tonga. But why we don't see this density in the Atlantic Ocean? And it's true that we have more islands in the Pacific than in the Atlantic? The answer has nothing to do with water, but with the things that happens inside the Earth. So today in Ocean Science, we will explore how the islands forms, what they are, and how we have this particular distribution around the world. So we can start with a geo-curiosity. So which is the country with the most island in the world? Maybe you can think in Indonesia, because this is a group of islands, no? You have a lot of them, so maybe it's the one who has the most. Or maybe the Maldives, or they are not too much, so maybe Philippines, no? A lot of islands, but nothing more far from the reality. Country with the most quantity of island is Sweden. So a cold country in the north of Europe that has the most quantity of island in the world. We're talking about 221,000 islands in this country. Most of them lack of population, but it's crazy, you know, how one of this country in the north part of Europe is the one who has the most quantity of island. So for understand this, we need to know what is an island. An island is a part of a terrain that is surrounded completely by water. So the entire coast is water, so we will have an island. And we have many ways of create an island, but the majority of these ways takes the call it geological time. So the time that the earth move the tectonic plates. So it's thousands of years to create an island from the different methods that I'm gonna show you now. We can have the continental island for erosion or separation. So the ones who were part of the mainland but start to divide for the erosion of the wind, for example, or even the sea. And we can have examples as in the UK here. Then we can have more shocking ways of doing this, like the tectonic movements. So a huge earthquake, or a movement that divides a piece of land, as it happened in New Zealand or even in the Caribbean Sea. And then we have one of the most common that we know is the hotspots. So the volcanic activity that came from the inside of the earth. This is when the part of the mantle creates a point where the magma goes up and starts to formate an island. And the movement of the tectonic plate from one side, it creates little by little different islands that will form an archipelago. So this is the case of the Hawaii Island, for example. And we can consider another way, that is the coral islands, that these ones are made from the biological organisms that colonize a volcanic island. So an old volcanic island that collapsed, and this starts to formate for a lot of organisms. They start to form like a coral island or an atoll. So this is the case of the Maldives. But this doesn't explain why we have one ocean with more islands than the other. As I said before, we need to talk about the tectonic plates. So this division that we have on the world in different pieces that moves from their own way. And we will see that the Pacific Ocean is full of them and has the thing called the Ring of Fire. This is because all the boundaries that this ocean has are converged boundaries. So the way that the plaques interact with each other is more aggressive than other ones. So we have the subduction, we have the collapse, and other movements that we can have with the plates. And in this case, it creates more activity, more volcanic activity, for be accurate. And this is why it calls the Ring of Fire. So if you see on the map, you will see that most of the countries that are in this line are characterized for a huge activity, a huge tectonic activity. So earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, or even tsunamis. And we will explore this formation of the tsunamis in a future video maybe, but we keep in mind that this tectonic activity around this ring of fires, it creates a lot of movement. So for that, a lot of islands in the way that I explained before. And now we need to move to the Atlantic Ocean, and is the completely opposite. We need to say first that the Atlantic Ocean is younger respect to the Pacific Ocean. This we can see it on the size that they have. So the Pacific Ocean, if you see it from behind, is almost old Earth. So it's completely full of water, and all of this is the Pacific Ocean. And in the other side we have the Atlantic Ocean that is in the middle between the continents and is huge, but not that as the Pacific Ocean. That means that the creation of the oceanic crust is being now do it. So the magma that comes is more tendency to make a new seafloor than make it these hotspots or these places to become an island. And this is also the behavior that this ocean has, not only because it's a younger ocean. Then we have the velocity of the movement of the plates that is less than the other ocean. Here we don't have this quantity of subduction areas, so it's not all the boundaries that this ocean has are subduction areas. So this doesn't help to create more volcanic activity, so for that more island. But of course the tectonic activity is still working, so we have the hotspots and we can have islands as the Azores Island or Iceland or different places as Sao Tome and Principe. So now we see how these different oceans create their islands, and we can have a list to compare how much islands we have in one and in the other one. So if you see these two photos of the list of places that we have islands, the Pacific Ocean has a lot more than the Atlantic Ocean. So we can understand that the quantity of islands are a huge difference between them. And I say something in the beginning of the video that says that island is a piece of land that is surrounded by water. This is not entirely true, because we have islands in other planets, and of course we don't have water in the planets that are near to us, so we can understand an island as a piece of land surrounded by a liquid. So in the case of the Earth, this liquid will be a sea, an ocean, but in any case will be water. And in other planets can be other things. In Mars, before, a lot of thousands of years before, the water was there. So we can consider Mars as similar to the Earth. And in the past, maybe there was a lot of islands in Mars that we are checking now, how the fluids were there, how everything were moving in the past. But in other planets, we can have islands from other liquids. We can go to Titan, the Saturn's moon, one of them, and we can see that the methane and the ethane are the liquids that surrounds piece of land in this planet or in this moon. And here we can consider this island surrounded by this strange liquid. So depending where we're looking, we can see islands surrounded by water, methane, or any liquid that creates a piece of land without escape of it. So that is all for today. This video was interesting to make because I see the map, I like a lot the geography and the countries, and I saw all these countries in the Pacific Ocean and anyone in the Atlantic Ocean, but also we have the Caribbean with a lot of islands, so I was curious about how many islands we have in each ocean. So I start to research and make this video to understand better, and also to share this idea of who is the one with more island and why also. And then explore the concept of the island. So how you can formate an island, how you can transfer this idea to another planet. So it was nice to make. I hope that you learned something today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.